Video games have affected most of us in our lives, like seeing boobies for the first time in GTA. You make memories playing these games. It could be good or bad, but what if you couldn't? What if you're not given the opportunity to enjoy a game that you were waiting for? It's as if it was lost. Lost media, baby. Oh! Lost media is a piece of media that isn't fully available to the public. It could no longer exist or just be missing. Most pieces of lost media are movies, shows, merchandise, and video games. Of course, there's more examples, but that's not our main focus. So here's a little list of lost video games I made to attract women. Kid Kirby is a canceled Super Nintendo game that would have utilized the SNES mouse and would have featured a 3D art style perhaps similar to Donkey Kong Country and how the graphics gave the illusion of 3D. It was developed by a third-party company called N.W.A Design Limited, which would eventually become Rockstar Wait, what the fuck? So the same people that tried to make a Kid Kirby game also made GTA. Here's some of the game's artwork so you can get an idea on how it would have looked. So believe it or not, but the game would have followed a young Kirby that has one singular curl of hair and sleeps in a crib. Sadly, that's all we know. There was never any gameplay footage or information about the story released to the public, so all we can really do is play the fucking guessing game. The game was cancelled by Nintendo due to, quote, years of unproductive development, end quote. Damn, Rockstar. Really, bruh? Really? Everyone knows about the infamous Mother-3 and how it was only released in Japan for the Game Boy Advance, and if you don't know it, kill yourself. Literally fucking kill yourself. But originally it was supposed to be Earthbound 64, or just Mother-3 for the N64. Anyways, Earthbound 64 would have been the third installment in the Mother franchise. It began development for the Nintendo 64 disc drive, which was only released in Japan. It was meant to come out in 1999, but due to the absolute fucking failure of the DD, it was switched to be released on the normal Nintendo 64. However, the development team was absolute dog water when it came to three-dimensional games, which led to the game's cancellation until it was brought back to be developed for the Game Boy Advance in 2003. It was also considered to be released on the GameCube, but that didn't happen, you silly Billy. The story was a bit different than Mother-3. For example, the game would have taken place 10 years after the events of Earthbound. It was supposed to have 12 chapters with a main character for each, unlike in Mother-3, which only had 8 chapters. And if development continued, some of the chapters would have been removed due to its complexity to be told on the Nintendo 64 because of its limitations. What an actual sad story. Your development team can't even make a 3D game, let alone the story would have been near impossible to tell on the hardware given. Who the fuck hired you? It's unknown how much of the game was actually completed, but at least you can see some gameplay footage online, so your sleepless nights are over.
At the E3 trade show in the United States this year, Nintendo was showing that Mario wasn't their only star attraction because a squirrel called Conker was impressing the crowds.
Penis stiffy, come real sticky,
12 Tales Conker 64 would have been released on the Nintendo 64. It was first announced as Conker's Quest at E3 1997 and would have been another one of Rare's kid-friendly games. But many people started criticizing how Rare only really made kid-friendly games. They started calling him names like, "You fucking pussy, ugly, bitch-ass motherfucker!
you fucking nigger!"
And Rare took that criticism with his dick out and turned Conker 64 into Conker's Bad Fur Day. Imagine being that prone to peer pressure. The original game would have followed Conker on a journey to recollect 100 presents that were stolen by the evil hoodlums and scattered throughout 4 worlds. While exploring, Conker and Barry must rescue their friends that were kidnapped and free the fucking universe from the hoodlums. Banjo-Threeie is an unconfirmed sequel to Banjo-Tooie. It is thought that it would have been released for the GameCube, Xbox, or Xbox 360. There was a teaser at the end of Banjo-Tooie where Gruntilda, the main villain, teases that she'd return in Banjo-Threeie. It's unknown if it was just a joke or a serious teaser, but at Space World 2000 there was a tech demo for the GameCube being titled Banjo-Threeie. In the tech demo, Banjo and Kazooie are being chased by a horde of enemies, which could have been a part of the plot, but Gregg Mayles, an employee at Rare, has stated on Twitter that, quote, "It was a joke. I never wanted to do another game in the same vein as the first two," end quote. So, with all the dicks in his mouth, it's still unknown if the tech demo was supposed to be anything more than just a tech demo. Donkey Kong's Racing was a cancelled GameCube game that would have been a follow-up to Diddy Kong's Racing. It was first announced at E3 2001, showing off the trailer of what the game would have looked like. It was supposed to be released in 2002, but that didn't happen. You know why? Because Microsoft bought fucking Rare and ruined everything! It was privately cancelled due to Rare, the game's developer, being bought out by Microsoft. The confirmed characters in this game would have been Donkey Kong, Tiny Kong, Diddy Kong, Kiddy Kong, and Taj the Genie. Instead of vehicles like in Diddy Kong Racing, you would have rode on animals. Some rideable animals would have been Rambi, a swordfish, Ellie the elephant, and some zingers. This is one of the few games I'd actually love to play. Sad thing is, I can't, because it was fucking cancelled. Also, you would have been able to upgrade your animals by collecting food and prizes throughout races, as well as switch animals during races. Call of Duty Roman Wars. What the fuck? Call of Duty Roman Wars was a scrapped Call of Duty game that was in development in 2008. This game would have been played from a top-down perspective instead of a first person like in the other games. It was sadly never seriously considered, probably because it would have been the best fucking Call of Duty game when compared to every other piece of garbage in the franchise. You would have been a member of the 10th Legion, Julius Caesar's elite force of troops. The weapons would have included bows, arrows, spears, and shields, as well as the ability to throw fucking sand.
All my niggas ballin' like Curry.
Not much is known about GTA 64 since it was never shown off to the public. However, what we know is that it would have been a port of GTA for the PS1, with better graphics and additional levels and characteristics. This is a major loss for Nintendo. You know why? Because now we can't get Trevor to Smash.
3 big niggas, and they dick getting bigger, growing and growing until it reaches its peak.
Alright, this isn't a lost game anymore since it was eventually released in 2019 for the Super Nintendo Classic Edition. I decided to keep it on the list for content, because why not? Star Fox 2 was a cancelled Super Nintendo game in the Star Fox series. It would have used a Super FX2 chip that is more powerful than the standard FX chip that was used in the first game. It was cancelled due to Nintendo's worries on how the graphics wouldn't hold up to the upcoming PlayStation and Sega Saturn, as well as the main focus being on the upcoming N64. At the time, the game was very close to completion and a lot of the game's assets were implemented into Star Fox 64. Since this game came out, you might be asking, is it good? Or is it bad? Well, it's awful.
I just wanna fuck a dude. Grab him by the balls, make his dick go move.
Super Mario 64 2 is an unconfirmed name for a sequel to one of the most important games of all time. Super Mario 64 gave so many people a hard-on when it was first released on the Nintendo 64. So why not keep that dick hard with a sequel? Super Mario 64 2 is a cancelled Nintendo 64 DD game, but as you know, the Nintendo 64 DD was such a fucking failure, not even Nintendo wanted anything to do with it. According to Nintendo, at least that's what it says on the wiki, Luigi would have been playable since the game was planned to have multiplayer as well as a rideable Yoshi. There was a demo made for the game that was multiplayer, but that has never seen the light of day. It is believed that a lot of the assets of Mario 64 2 were implemented into games like Super Mario 64 DS and Super Mario Galaxy. So my Jake Paulers, that's all I have for you today. If you guys enjoyed, let me know if I should make a sequel video talking about more. You're free to leave suggestions if you like. Making this video is a bit challenging but fun at the same time. I don't think I ever had to do this much research for a video, so it was quite an experience. Now with that out of the way, subscribe before I shove my fist up your ass.